welcome back to another video on my channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing another experiment in ethics. If you guys have been keeping up with the series, the last one I did was volunteering. And in today's video we have investigating a charity that I don't have to donate to, but my professor is going to be donating to. And apparently she's going to be donating around like $800 to one of our charities that we're going to discuss in class. So that's kind of exciting. And what better charity to do than a charity that involves children, God's children. So I'm hoping to find a good charity like Shriners or St. Jude's or something like that that helps little kids with cancer or other types of illnesses, because that is so sweet and precious. And the main thing that got me into this category of charity is I see the cute little videos of little kids with cancer, and it's so sad, and they're just singing and doing fun things and still wanting to live their lives, and it's so sweet and cute. And I was like, okay, I know what kind of category I'm going to be doing. I kind of look like a mess. It's okay. This video isn't about looking like a beauty queen, okay? But I have to find a couple, maybe take a little notes and upload something like that to a draft, and then I'm going to be writing it out, and I will be reading what I write for you guys, because this is another one where I don't need to really go out and do something, but is mainly on what we write up for it. So I'll be sharing that with you guys. Enjoying the yellow messy countertops in the background. But yeah, so that is kind of the gist of this video. We don't want my intro to be too long because they have been very long in pretty much all my videos because I just yap. That is basically the gist of this video. I'm going to be trying to do a little bit of research, and I'll get back to you guys when I have more done, and we'll see what happens. Bye, y'all. I should be sleeping right now. I am literally tired. It's past 2 in the morning. Let's say I wasted a bit of time. But I am way over the word count. I am 201 words over the word count. So I have a lot to do. I might not work on it again until Monday when it's due. But I have a good start on it. I'm pretty much done. I don't know if all of it makes sense, so it definitely needs improvement. But for now, I need to get ready for bed and whatnot. I am going to end the stuff here for now. And then we'll pick it up whenever I pick it up, because too much. Bye, y'all. Hi, y'all. Okay, it's been a hot minute since I've updated you guys on my investigating a charity ethics project. So it's almost been a week since I turned it in. I turned it in late on the Monday night, so the day it was due, and I had a pretty bad headache. I just had to cram it in, and I ended up actually changing my whole charity to one that was more effective altruism, from a more effective altruist perspective, which means doing the most good with the least amount of money. It's charity based. And if you can't tell, your girl did a big chop to her hair, but guess what? I donated it, so we're staying ethical. Well, I still have the hair. It has yet to be donated, but I can't just chop it without not donating it. So anyway, I ended up switching it to a different charity. This one was more for providing food to children in countries of poverty like Africa. Anyway, I ended up going and finally checking my score, because I'm such a big overthinker, and sometimes I feel it's best to not check and know my score rather than to check it, because if it's some points off, then I overthink oh, I could have done this differently or whatever. But I checked it finally tonight, and I got 100%. We love it. So we are going to go read my professor's comment, which I already did, but I'll read it to you guys. And then I'm going to read my paper that I wrote out loud for you guys, because we gotta update the YouTube channel. But do we love the hair? It's different for sure. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning parts of this video from basically a week ago, my professor wanted to donate $800 to one of the charities that we chose, right? So in class, we went on like the whiteboard and we put like ideas of different charities for donate. We ended up splitting between 2 charities, so $400 each. So she did in fact donate money to them. Mine was not on there, and I do not blame her at all because again, I switched charities. She wanted to do something more effective, altruist. So doing the most good for the least amount of money. So like the one I ended up changing to, it can like feed people for like a year for like 38 cents. So your 38 cents can like feed a whole person for a year. That's a little bit of money doing a lot of good. So this is her comments kind of around that, of like, I was open to things and she's glad I changed it and found something better. So let's get into it. So she said, Cheyenne, I appreciate how you are open to class ideas and thought about them more. St. Jude's a lovely organization, but it's not an EA, effective altruism, charity. And it is certainly not neglected. It is very well funded. Okay. So, I love this charity. One that my family regularly gives to. S-PHC. Okay. So, I abbreviated what it was because there's supposed to be word counts, and I was over almost 200 words, but under 200 words over the word count. So, I didn't get docked, which I'm so blessed for. But, yeah, so S-PHC standard for what the charity was, which when I get into reading mine, you guys will see. So she abbreviated too, and I'm glad that the abbreviation was fine because I wanted to save words. So she said, great find. Okay, a little thing's probably cut off, so she might have accidentally did something, but I think she meant that I really like digged into it and I found facts about it, and then I applied them all to the class ideas. And then it says, superstar work. Well, thanks, Mel. As always. I appreciate how much you contribute to our awesome class community. Well, thanks, Mel. Thank you. Just wait till I pull up to school. The whole new look. Okay, but I got 100%. So let's read my paper to you guys, and you guys can be the judge if you think it was worth 100%. Because I did more class ideas than I needed. We needed like 3, and I did 4, which is why I went extra over the word count, but it's class ideas, so I don't know. Okay, let's go to Word. I need to plug you guys in because my phone's about to die. Okay, so basically, guys, to sum up that little comment, I'm so glad I ended up changing charities like last minute, like a couple hours before, and doing the extra little bit of research to get that done because I actually still use St. Jude's in my thing. I used St. Jude as my counterclaim, like my rebuttal to it. So I still used some of that in handy. And because it was still child-centered, I still used a lot of what I already had written. I just had to rechange it for the new charity. So let's get into it. You guys can see a little more of my writing because when I have to do the big documentation ones, I don't share the papers I write with it. But I've been getting 100% on all the projects. And some of them probably deserve more than 100. Sorry, I put a lot of work into them, but no. I'm very grateful for what I've been getting. So, here goes my little paper. So I said, have you ever heard the saying, the little things in life are what count? Yes? Well, what if you thought of the word little as a child? What if you were like me right now and had the desire to support a charity that helps God's precious children? Personally, I believe little lives are lives that can make big differences. Your girl ate that up. And what better charity to support than Sanku Project Healthy Children? And then I put S-PHC. So she'd know it would be abbreviation. A charity that focuses on the wide-scale micronutritional needs of children in various poverty-level African countries. To expand deeper, it may be helpful to first view S-PHC with a utilitarian perspective. Utilitarians believe in doing the greatest amount of good for the greatest outcome while considering both the long and short-term repercussions. Weston, PG 134. In other words, if given the option to save 100 lives now versus 1,000,000 lives over a century, a utilitarian would pick the 1,000,000 lives because in the long term, more people prosper in parentheses, despite short-term recoils. Although S-PHC does not stop there. They continue to utilitarianize with the goal of reaching 100 million children throughout the next decade. Furthermore, long-termism, I was so butchering the pronunciation in that class. She made like the whole class pronounce it. I was saying it so bad. I was saying like longitarianism. Like I don't even know what I was saying. Long-termism. So like over the long term, like a long time. So furthermore, long-termism is another great aspect of S-PHC. For context, long-termism is a way of embracing the now so future generations can reap the benefits. Mo's notes, and then I put the date. More specifically, you should always consider how your actions influence others, and if possible, how you can make the positive influences overshine the negative ones. With the S-PHC charity, children are what make up our future generations. Therefore, by providing them with proper nutrition, they can not only fight off illnesses more efficiently, lower death rates, grow, and more, but they can actively participate in education since their lives are no longer consumed by the burden of hunger. Overall, manifesting a future of now, well-educated adults with healthy children of their own that continue this new cycle of endless eudaimonia. Okay, so that was like some long continuous sentences, and you guys probably don't even know exactly what I'm saying. But eudaimonia was a class idea from the past, and it was like about flourishing and prospering. So what I was trying to say here was long-termism is like trying to do things now that help future generations. So what I was trying to get across here is if we're able to feed children, they'll be able to go to school and actually function and focus in school. And then with them being able to function in school, and when they get food, hopefully their life expectancy is longer. If they can reproduce, have kids of their own, then they'll be educated enough to maybe teach their kids or at least help parent and grow their kids. So therefore, their kids can hopefully have kids and the future generation go along and they're more educated and stuff like that. I didn't sum that up the greatest, but basically I was trying to say that if we invest in these kids now with this food, it will help them hopefully get education, and then when they become adults and have children of their own, hopefully their children will now be healthy and the cycle just keeps going. Okay, now it's time for my little rebuttal counterclaim. So I said still, there are people who may be skeptical about my choice of charity and insist that a charity like St. Jude is the ultimate way to go because it consists of mutual aid, otherwise known as community-based help, where people can exchange social support, goods, money, etc. to one another as a first-hand witness. Mo's notes, whatever. See, we have to put a little Mo's notes, even though I found a little bit from her notes, but then I try to make it my own, so, It can be as simple as mowing someone's lawn, then because you mowed it, you know exactly how and who received help. So basically, to sum that up better for you guys if you didn't already get it, mutual aid is more community-based. So you know them if you directly help them, so you know they got help. While you'll see more of what effective altruism is. But yeah, that's basically what mutual aid was. It is doing things for people you know. And because you know them and you did it, you know they're getting help. While people can think about donating to charities on the wide scale, how do you know if the children are actually getting the money or if people are just posting a charity and they're money hungry and keeping it for themselves? Like the commercials you might see of the little sad animals on TV, a lot of people would say that the animals really aren't getting help, or it's just a sob story to help us have empathy for the animals and give our money, and they'll just take it and not give it to the animals. So that's what we don't want, and that's why we have mutual aid, because they want to try to do it themselves on a more smaller thing. So it is community-based. It doesn't have a huge impact, but it still has a impact, and small things can go long ways. So let's continue. So going back to St. Jude, it says, St. Jude portrays mutual aid through the personal stories of the children they help save, while the S-PHC charity is truly deficient in that area of expertise. S-PHC is something far greater, though, effective altruism. See, now this is what I was getting into and talking to. Which, in short, is a way charities use little funds to make global impacts. And then Mo's notes, yada, 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 and a date. More importantly, reaching for the stars when it comes to helping others rather than the grass. I've eaten this up a little bit, but basically what I meant there is like doing the most good for the little amount. So reach for the stars, which are way farther. They do more good than the grass, which is like right next to you on the ground. You can easily get that. So go for the hard stuff, not the easy stuff, basically. So S-PHC has done this so well, in fact, that it only takes around 38 cents to feed a child for a whole year, compared to the hundreds of thousands of dollars it most likely takes to implement cancer research on a child. All in all, giving rise to the idea that no matter how much or less you can give, more can be done with little money for big causes than big donations for little causes. And that basically means that effective altruism is better than mutual aid, because you can give 38 cents and feed people for a whole year, which is a little bit of money for a big cause, or a big donation, like let's say giving $1,000 to a homeless person, which is very crazy, but you do you. That's just an example. Or like giving $1,000 to your friend who never pays you back, which if they need to pay you back, they kind of gotta pay you back. But we'll just say you just gave it to them for helping, and you're like, don't give it back, like whatever. So that's a lot of money, but it's a small cause because it's only one person. So that's what I kind of mean. But yeah, sorry y'all, I'm a yapper. I interrupted a lot of my writing. If I just read it straight, it probably would have sounded a lot better. Honestly, I might reread it just so it flows a little better, but that is pretty much my paper that I got 100% on. So thank you, Mo. I tried to make it a little fancier. Honestly, when I write, I like to be very personal. Mo knows I have so much to say all the time. But let's just read over this without me trying to yap so much. So, here goes my paper. Have you ever heard the saying, the little things in life are what count? Yes? Well, what if you thought of the word little as a child? What if you were like me right now and had the desire to support a charity that helps God's precious children? Personally, I believe little lives are lives that can make big differences. And what better charity to support than Sanku Project Healthy Children, S-PHC, a charity that focuses on the wide-scale micronutritional needs of children in various poverty-level African countries. To expand deeper, it may be helpful to first view S-PHC with a utilitarian perspective. Utilitarians believe in doing the greatest amount of good for the greatest outcome while considering both the long and short-term repercussions. Weston PG-134. In other words, if given the option to save 100 lives now versus 1,000,000 lives over a century, a utilitarian would pick the 1,000,000 lives, because in the long term, more people prosper despite short-term recoils. Similar to the S-PHC charity, 3 million children younger than 5 years old were originally dying due to malnutrition. Now, innovative dosifier machines have since been fortifying food throughout African countries, allowing children to receive their essential nutrients. Thus, nearly 10 million children's families are able to receive food on a daily basis. Although S-PHC does not stop there. They continue to utilitarianize with the goal of reaching 100 million children throughout the next decade. Furthermore, long-termism is another great aspect of S-PHC. For context, long-termism is a way of embracing the now so future generations can reap the benefits. Mo's Notes 4:725. More specifically, you should always consider how your actions influence others, and if possible, how you can make the positive influences overshine the negative ones. With the S-PHC charity, children are what make up our future generations. Therefore, by providing them with proper nutrition, they can not only fight off illnesses more efficiently, lower death rates, grow, and more, but they can actively participate in education since their lives are no longer consumed by the burden of hunger. Overall, manifesting a future of now well-educated adults with healthy children of their own that continue this new cycle of endless eudaimonia. Still, there are people who may be skeptical about my choice of charity and insist a charity like St. Jude is the ultimate way to go because it consists of mutual aid, otherwise known as community-based help, where people can exchange social support, goods, money, etc. to one another as a first-hand witness. Mo's Notes 4:9-25. It can be as simple as mowing someone's lawn, and because you mowed it, you know exactly how and who received help. St. Jude portrays mutual aid through the personal stories of the children they help save, while the S-PHC charity is truly deficient in the area of expertise. S-PHC has something far greater, though, effective altruism, which in short is a way charities use little funds to make global impacts. Mo's Notes 4:9-25. More importantly, reaching for the stars when it comes to helping others rather than the grass. S-PHC has done this so well, in fact, that it only takes around 38 cents to feed a child for a whole year, compared to the hundreds of thousands of dollars it most likely takes to implement cancer research on a child. All in all, giving rise to the idea that no matter how much or less you can give, more can be done with little money for big causes than big donations for little causes. Your girl is. Because we had God on our side. God always has my back. He does, he does, he does. And I know he was here with me, helping me write this. And I know that he guided me to this better charity to do my assignment. And I wish I found this for class sooner, because I could have had a way better argument for this, and this one probably could have had a better opportunity of receiving a donation. But the donations I didn't give any money. Mo gave $800 to 2 charities. That's crazy. But the donations that Mo ended up going with, I think were still great charities and ones that can hopefully make big differences, despite one of them not necessarily being effective altruism. It could be. You can make a good argument for it, but it wasn't on Peter Singer's website, which, if you guys want to find the Sanku Project Healthy Children and donate of your own, literally, I think 38 cents feeds a child. So you could donate like 38 cents, $1 or whatever, and you're helping someone. Because again, little money, little things can make big differences, especially in children. So, if you search up Peter Singer, I think it's called The Life You Can Save, then there's a whole bunch of charities, and this is one of them that's on there. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this little experiment in ethics project video. Sorry it's been so long. This literally should have been out like a week ago, but it's probably going to take even longer for me to edit. So, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you got to this far, thank you. I don't know what I'm going to be keeping or deleting from this video yet, so we'll figure it out. But now I'm going to go film a little Easter haul. Easter is not about what you get in a basket or materialistic items. It's about what Jesus did and gave to us. He literally gave his life for us and saved us. And that's the greatest, infinity greatest gift that we can ever receive, is accepting Jesus into our lives and that he died on the cross for our sins so that we can be saved and spend eternity in him. We should not have a goal to go to heaven because we just don't want to go down there. Like, heaven can be streets of gold. It can be the most beautiful place ever. And that's so great. But for me, it's not about what you receive when you get there. It's about knowing that you made it there because you love Jesus and that you get to spend eternity with Jesus. Like, spending time with God is way better than anything you can get And that's something that I need to personally work on a ton on earth. Because it shouldn't be like, oh, you get to heaven and then you start living your life for Jesus and then you start loving Jesus. We have to start loving Jesus now so that we can just continue to love him in heaven. But I'm going to leave the video there, and I hope you guys have a very blessed night, day, afternoon, whatever time you're watching this video at, and I'll see you in the next one. And now I'm telling you, y'all, the next one is about to be crazy. Hopefully, if everything goes well. I still gotta plan and do everything for it. But we got an idea. So, we'll see how it gets executed. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys go now. And bye, y'all!